AR is offering something even more powerful. It's making it more immersive, interactive, and more imaginatory.
For example, recently I have been seeing the Pepsi cans. When you interact with a Pepsi can, it brings you to the mini stadium. Look at that. How is it much interactive to a person trying to take a Pepsi filters, where you wouldn't even try different makeups in the real world, but you would try different makeups in a virtual way. Using augmented reality, you look at how you associate with them. An example of Snapchat makeups.
The cream on the top is augmented reality. For augmented reality, we use a phone. It's scalable tech. We're able to place images, sounds, 3D, and so on using your phone. A good example, Snapchat filters, Instagram filters.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our monthly webinar series. Today's session is going to be diving into a truly transformative space into marketing, which is augmented reality. So a lot of people call it AR, and some people will mistake it for AI. But today we're going to look at how AR's role in crafting more interactive and engaging brand experiences. So we're quite excited because a lot of conferences today, you go into, say, the exhibition areas, you're going to find some guys with like headsets or glasses. So it's going to be exciting for the speakers today to share more about this. If you've had a cool experience with AR, please drop a comment in the chat section so that we are able to also understand you. I'm Aggie Patricia Turwomwe, and I'm the founder at Agile Media Africa. I'm also the CEO. I'm always delighted to be a moderator. And today we're exploring how AR is not just a gimmick for marketers, but how it's changing the game for marketers, how brands are telling their stories through AR and giving customers an experience to feel and touch the brand even before it's in fruition. If you can see people in real estate, it's quite amazing that they'll walk you through a building before they even construct it, just for them to purchase it. For us as a strategic agency, we are also leveraging creatives who are using AR as an asset. They're turning campaigns into experiences and telling stories for customers to interact with. That is exciting because you can turn those passive audiences to actually active participants because they didn't know what you were probably sharing, but after having that experience, they're able to buy into what you're saying. So as the digital fatigue is growing with customer attention span is really shrinking, AR is offering something even more powerful. It's making it more immersive, interactive, and more imaginatory. So today we're going to look at how the rise of AR in branding is shaping media, how brands across real estate, tourism, retail are telling their stories with AR, how the growing power of AR is enhanced by technology, things like 3D designs in customer interaction, but also some practical strategies for integrating AR into your digital marketing campaigns. Normally, we like to have entrepreneurs listen or watch these webinars because they would not normally find this content anywhere else. But our topics for the webinars are really customized for the entrepreneur, that when they come here, they're able to get something out of it. Let's meet the brilliant creatives. Do you think AR will become as common as social media marketing within the next 5 years? So if you have an answer for that, please put it in the chat section as we get to meet the speakers. So first off is Admire Nabanza. He is from NBS TV. He is a brand designer, and he'll be exploring how AR creative applications in branding and media. He'll share where AR is headed in the next 5 years and what marketers should be ready for. We'll listen to Chris Otim. Chris will dive into how our storytelling is transforming real estate, retail, how people are creating experiences that are not just visual, but also emotional, connecting to real humans. Then we're also going to listen to Kahangwa Daniel. He is speaking about how brands can bring their products to life from AR-driven design and why this matters more than ever. To tie things together, we hear from Betty Kakyo, the marketing manager at Agile Media Africa. So in today's webinar, Betty will be reflecting on key strategies for brands looking to adopt AR meaningfully in their campaigns, but also wrapping up the entire conversation. Why don't we kick things off with our very first speaker, Admire?
Thank you very much, Aggie, for this opportunity. It is interesting. As a creative, I have looked for these chances to really talk about AR. And it is amazing that I have an opportunity now to talk about AR. Maybe for starters, if I can talk about AR and why is it AR, not like its sister, virtual reality? AR is a mixed reality, mark-based and markless, digital to the virtual world. AR is a tool. We have seen more applications being developed to really immerse the digital world and then the virtual world, like the Apple's Kit, the Reality Kit, and Google AR Core. Here in the virtual world, it's really bringing your digital stuff to the virtual world, not like its sister virtual reality that fully immerses you to the artificial world. In this case, as a creative, when we do stuff from our softwares and want to put them to the real world, we use augmented reality tools. You will be able to take an example, a business card, and then you fully interact with it, fully go immerse with it, detailed to it, to whatever you are trying to communicate out there. Let's say a restaurant menu or business card. You would want to really look at the menu and also fully immerse yourself into the deliverables of a restaurant or whatever they are trying to offer with either QR code or a link you can access with your phone. Before I said it is a mixed reality, so it has two ways of how you can navigate through it, mark-based or markless. Where mark-based, it is more using a QR code or links, and then markless when you're using the computer vision, GPS, and other sensors to navigate into VR. We wouldn't have these opportunities to use R because it was a bit technical. Unlike these days, it is more of a drag and drop and then all that kind of stuff. I feel the market today is going to be insane. For example, recently I have been seeing the Pepsi cans. When you interact with a Pepsi can, it brings you to the mini stadium. Look at that. How is it much interactive to a person trying to take a Pepsi? I will have to recall so much and think of that product, that brand. I was jazzing with my homies way back and telling them the reality is we human beings love it when we interact with our world. The digital products we do, you wouldn't be fully immersed like our physical world. The interaction with 3D is really amazing to people. People recall much of a 3D than designs. So AR in this kind of space is trying to bridge the frat to the virtual world, then to the physical world, where we shall have amazing things being done. For example, the recent Nike shoes try-ons. It's really amazing. We shall look at how people are going to be interacting with the shoes, trying them on, creating their own designs in their space. Quite a number of things they can do with augmented reality. It is endless.
We can bring it down here to Uganda. How are creatives using AR to brand themselves, to reach their target audiences? Do you have practical examples?
Products like makeup, try-ons use filters where you wouldn't even try different makeups in the real world, but you would try different makeups in a virtual way. Using augmented reality, you look at how you associate with them. An example of Snapchat. makeups. And also now, different people like engaging with the kind of stuff they are really associated with. How creatives have really interacted with this space is it wouldn't take me time to explain my design. I would rather create a link or a QR code, immerse you into a world where you can fully explain yourself. I would do less of talking and then take you through physical stuff. Quite impressing. Let's say you're doing mock-ups, you're trying to do prototypes. There are chances of using less money, using less explanations and less tools when trying to use AR. So it is such amazing to talk about.
Thank you so much, Admire. I'm quite excited to hear from Chris how they're bridging the gap between communications in the construction industry. Tell us how AR is transforming real estate, how you're creating experiences that are not just visual, but you're also speaking to the sensories, which are emotions.
I am highly visual, and to explain this concept, you need something to show people.
Absolutely. As you shared your screen, thank you, Admire. He gave us a primer into what to expect, but also how creatives are actually using AR. I like the discussion around the 3D design, but also Nike's try-on sneakers. So that's quite interesting.
All right. Thank you so much for this invitation. It's really a pleasure to always share information and insights in different topics. And this is a topic that really touches me, augmented reality. So I'm Chris, the team lead at Taza-Fasi. We work a lot with architects, interior designers, and real estate developers to visualize their projects in virtual reality, augmented reality, but also if you've heard of 3D impressions on how some of these spaces will look. When I was approached with the topic of sharing about AR, quality told to share two topics. The first one was how it's revolutionizing real estate, retail, tourism, and basically other spaces, but also to share some of the considerations brands should look at before integrating some of these AR solutions to whatever they're trying to do. Before I actually jump right in, thought I should actually explain some of these concepts because I know my colleague, the previous speaker, has tried to point out here and there, but explaining some of these things makes it easier for people to understand. So augmented reality is part of an ecosystem of realities or technologies, I would say. The overall term is called extended reality. If you've heard people say XR, so inside extended reality, we have virtual reality, where you normally see people with like headsets and so on. And then we see augmented reality. Augmented reality predominantly uses phones. If you've seen the fancy Snapchat filters, that's augmented reality. It stops at that, right? Then we have mixed reality that sort of combines virtual reality and augmented reality. So the mixed reality is not really something that sounds a lot. Diving further inside, virtual reality, as my colleague said, fully immerses you in this virtual environment. And for some of our works, we showed how some of these technologies plays out in the market. For example, in cultural heritage and tourism, with the future of museums at ICOM, we also did a few things here and there with the Ministry of Lands in architectural visualization, using this tool to help people experience some of these things, even in education as well. So that's for virtual reality. Fully immerses you. You need a virtual reality headset. There is mixed reality. So mixed reality as well immerses you in this environment, but not fully. So when you put on a headset, you will just see some of these 3D elements. For example, in this picture that is used in gaming, you're able to see the different 3D elements as you're doing gaming, but it's also used in medicine. Just put on the headset, then you're able to move through a person's heart, dissect it, stuff like that. So different companies use these kinds of technologies and so on for those cases. And if you've really explored Google Maps, you'll see that it actually has an AR kind of map navigation tool in it. And then we also have IKEA, their app for buying furniture. You're able to use AR to place furniture in a specific room. It's cool stuff once you experiment with these technologies. Some unique insights I had, especially in real estate. So in real estate, as my colleague said, we have two types. We have AR where we can something, and it shows you something. For example, you scan a floor plan and it will bring a 3D of the house. It's a way of doing showcases. There's also markerless. For markerless, you don't need to scan anything. You just place the 3D object in a real world, move around the 3D object just using your phone. The advantages about AR is it's highly scalable. Everyone has a phone, and phones are really getting beefed up. We are able to really leverage it in so many ways. The second one that I was asked to talk about is in retail. So in retail, it's really highly used. I gave example of IKEA furniture, but also in art exhibitions. Actually, the recent, I did go for an art exhibition. It was a partnership between Motive and some curator. So when you scan the art pieces, they're able to move. So it was a more interactive experience as compared to just looking at the art piece. Then Coca-Cola did some AR as well, where you're able to scan the bottle and see AR elements moving around. That's a way to engage customers and offer more value in different products. Then we have supermarket browsing. In different markets, people use their phone and then it gives you directions on where a product is. It's really cool. It saves your time moving and browsing through different stalls to get whatever you want. Also in restaurants where they give you a menu. So sometimes you don't know what the food is, right? So you scan the menu, the food pops up, you interact with it. So most of it is leaning to customer engagement. Even billboards, you're moving through town, or you see a billboard scan, and then you see the guy dunking. So it's just about that engagement. The goal is to get people looking at your work longer to fall in love with it. In tourism, still we have really Google Maps. I think that really does its trick and you're able to browse through different spaces. They're also using cultural preservation. Artifacts get old, so we normally scan them, make them 3D formats. That kind of technology is called photogrammetry. We scan them and then use it in augmented reality to revisit some of these artifacts so that it's not lost to history. We also have AR projection advertising. This happens a lot in New York squares. We have a lot of AR elements that are pinned around, so people tend to move through them. It's more engaging, so beefing up your marketing and so on. For the last topic, I was told to talk about key considerations to put in place while you are trying to integrate AR, right? The first one is clearly define your goals. What do you want to use AR for? Be it art and design, architecture, or if you're doing graphics design. So define those goals, what you want to use it for. I know your target audience. Where can I find these people? Some people don't even use tech. Like getting them to use some of these apps is not going to be easy. So you need to know exactly these people and their behavior trends so that you can customize it to their needs. You need to also select the right type of AR. AR can be accessed through an app or web-based. It's very scalable. The web-based one is the most scalable because anyone can access a browser from anywhere, right? Based on what you're going to use it for, you need to define that if it's marker-based, where you scan something and it shows, or just drop a 3D element and interact with it. The fourth one is prioritizing quality and experience. This is about design thinking, knowing your people. And normally UI UX designers do this. You need to really know what exactly you're doing and how people are going to respond to it. And it basically being seamless for you and that interaction when people having that experience. And then the last one is tracking performance, engaging with my content. Can I iterate and make it better? Most of the people in this call are guys of marketing. It's data-based marketing. It's very important to get it right because marketing is expensive and you need to know what you're doing. The whole essence of AR is a technology that you can leverage in different use cases, but core creating that it's emotionally rich, it's interactive, because they keep saying that everyone deep down is a child. So bringing in some play and interaction always beefs up whatever brand or whatever thing you're trying to push. So wrapped in there with creative storytelling and customer-centric design, believe me, your brand will be elevated because different brands, when leveraging this technology, get a skyrocket in their sales and so on. The end goal are sales. But thank you.
Thank you so much. That was quite relative. Thank you for your presentation. Now we have a better picture of what AR really is. They tell you it's making something bigger, generating a bigger size of value. So we get the picture now, especially with the images on the streets in New York or the medical part. I think that was impressive. Probably won't have some of these killer diseases with such technology. It's amazing what this technology can do. However, it's clear it's for the tech savvy, not your ordinary Tom and Sandra would be able to jump on this bandwagon. But Daniel Kahangwa, an immersive visual artist, he's pushing boundaries with 3D design and AR. He's going to be speaking about how brands can bring their products to life through AR-driven design and why it matters today. Why now more than ever?
Hello. I was given two topics. The first is the role of 3D design in enhancing AR marketing. Without 3D models, there is nothing to present. They are the core of augmented reality. Then with 3D models, you are given more control as a user. Interacting with the object, you're given more control. You're able to rotate it, zoom in, flip whatever item you have presented on the phone. And it also enhances the customer's journey because you are able to see the product on how it would be presented to you without you being there. You get to see the object before it actually gets to you. You get to see the object in 360. That can be viewed on sites like Sketchfab, where people go to find 3D objects that they can use in their work. And it just makes it more interactive and also less of visuals that we see on media. Because on media, we have posts of pictures. There is not much that you can say about it. You don't have much control over it. But with AR and 3D design, you have more control as a customer and it's more engaging. That's why 3D design is very important in AR marketing. Yes. And how AR powered 3D visuals elevates brand experience. As we've just witnessed from Mr. Otim and Mr. Admire, they've spoken about Nike, IKEA, and there is a way we all feel about knowing such brands. And knowing that a brand is using AR, we get to see a brand as something that's modern, something that is technological. So AR does elevate a brand. You find that Nike is different because it's using something that is new and quite more interactive. Just like Mr. Admire said, you get to interact with the shoe before you even buy it. And things like Snapchat that Mr. Otim had already mentioned, it's something we see every day. It increases purchase confidence because items like shirts, trousers, dresses, you could go and see how you would look like before you actually purchase. Or like the IKEA, you get to see if the chair would fit properly in your room. You get to become somewhat of an interior designer of your own to do work on your own. It also creates a sense of loyalty between the customer and the brand. Let's say, for example, there are companies that allow you to try on makeup. But you wouldn't go to any cosmetics shop and say, let me try on this lipstick, because it's better you view what you would look like before actually buying the product. So that's why I believe AR will do wonders to marketing.
Oh, wonderful, Daniel. That was well summarized, especially for the marketing for the females. Our skins are not canvas, so you can't have all that makeup on all the time. That example you gave is quite relative for us. We talked about creatives are being empowered by such technologies that they're able to do more things with just that talent they have. So I think that is brilliant as well. I like the purchase confidence that customers now can have prior to purchasing products or services brands are marketing. I like the engaging bit, the different sites you talked about. Now, allow me welcome our very last speaker of the day, Miss Betty. Tie this together. Give us a roundup of what you think of augmented reality and key strategies for brands?
Thanks, Aggie. From a marketer's perspective, mainly on storytelling, what's dominating is content marketing. AR has a huge part to play in that. I liked what Chris was talking about, the practical usage in interior design and architecture. The first time I saw AR in action was in a museum. During COVID, restaurants really tapped into it in strategies for brands looking to adopt AR in their marketing strategies. I think when you talk about Uganda, sometimes we think like, where can this fall? Apart from real estate and interior design, where can we see practicality? I look at tourism marketed mainly to people abroad. If we look at the tourism sector now, like what Explore Uganda is doing, I think that's where Uganda would get more practicality in terms of AR, personally for me, in the tourism sector. Just developing AR filters around top destinations, for example, like Windy or Murchison Falls or Rwenzori Mountains. They always promote these tourism destinations in Dubai, and all these people have the technology necessary, and those are the people they're attracting. So you have the target audience sorted, and they already have this technology. You can imagine a campaign around a 360 view of the Murchison Falls. The objective is to promote destination awareness and engagement with the audience, mainly international travelers, so centered around airport tourism expos. I can also see it working around virtual safaris and culture tours. For example, I don't think we have an AR view of the Kasubi tombs with someone narrating the story around the Kasubi tombs and promoting it like all the lodges we have. For me, that's where I see the practicality for AR in Uganda with what the country is trying to promote, especially with tourism. And I think right now, where we are in content marketing, with influencer marketing, everything's around storytelling with the Gen Zs. With TikTok, AR has worked best with Snapchat. It would be easy to get customer data to inform your campaign, whether it's working or working. In East Africa, the only company I saw really doing it, especially at telecoms, was Safaricom in Kenya, where they had people scanning and checking out data bundles. And when the videos that would come up when people would scan their codes was customers talking about how they use the data bundles. That was their usability for it. And creating value-driven experiences. What brands need to look out for is avoiding gimmicks. I think the issue with brands in Uganda is not knowing whether this works for their brand or not. Does your brand actually need it? Is it relevant for your brand? Also, tracking and monitoring it to inform future campaigns. The importance of integrating it with other marketing channels. Apart from using it online, integrating it with offline experiences. For example, having it in-house when people walk into a store looking at clothes or a menu, just having it integrated both online and offline for different audiences, mainly focused on the tourism sector.
Thank you so much. That summarizes what the guests have been talking about. Betty, thank you. I think there's a bridge between what you're talking about, storytelling, deeper engagement, but also a future-ready marketing for all sectors, especially those that are quite predominantly tech-savvy. So thank you so much for those insights. Admire? Is there something you left out you feel like, oh, this is what I wanted to talk about?
Thank you to my colleagues. It is really amazing talking about AR and how we can use it in our daily branding and how our brands can be different. I think this is an opportunity to be different because brands have been doing the same stuff. Before it becomes more trendy, brands should jump on this opportunity to retain customers, be different, and have more sales. What Betty was trying to say about the AR and how customers can interact with it, it reminded me of Walmart recent initiative, I think recently did, of having shopping while I'm home and I'm fully immersed into a warehouse and pick a random stuff. That eases time and also money in terms of maybe transportation, that I would shop at my convenience with AR. So it's really amazing. and also finding the way brands can really apply that using the mark-based, like Mr. Otim had talked about it. I think that's the trigger we can use, having billboards with QR codes and maybe using shared links across the WhatsApp groups such that people can really interact with it very much and get so certain, since the largest number uses phones and this is the world we are into. AR is all about a phone, like your team had said. So I think this is a big opportunity brands should leverage.
Thank you. I think there's 2 million or 3 million active phone subscribers in Uganda. I definitely think this is not for everybody, but for those brands that are predominantly digital, this is an opportunity for them.
When I was in school, I used to tap my lecturers say eyes of Africans are in their hands. So I think there is no way we would shop online without seeing a physical stuff. This is the real time now for AR to be in use, and I shop at my comfort, seeing the bag I want in real time, the couch I want in real time. I try it even in my space. That's amazing. It balances with my car in my home. That's the way AR is going to be used here. Very much awesome.
Thank you for your insights. We have a question for Kahangwa. How can SMEs in Uganda incorporate AR marketing without heavy investment in tech infrastructure? Chris, would you want to come in with your parting shot?
Thank you once again. It's been lovely listening to all the people with their great insights on everything. I think what I can say is for anyone who wants to venture into AR and whatnot, I believe that you should know exactly what you want, because this technology is highly experimental. You need someone with at least good technical knowledge to give you advice. You need, those experts are called XR developers. If you do not have the money, you can benchmark off existing platforms. Let's say you have a small business and you want to do your business cards online. People can help with that. Go to their websites, user interface, you put your design on the thing, and then generate for you a QR code that you can use. So you won't really be spending a lot of money. But when you're looking at scaling out or a big kind of thing, you need to invest in someone who knows the information, but you also need to be clear what exactly you want to do, because this is Uganda. We have to be realistic. How are people going to react to these things? Because they sound cool. When you try VR, it sounds cool, but what's the feasibility? Do people actually need it? Sometimes you think people need your thing, but they don't. As creatives or people in marketing, we need to know what we're doing, and we need to get feasibility for everything that we're doing. But other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris, for calling out all the dreamers to check us, get a feasibility study of what you're trying to do. We wish you all the best. Daniel, are you ready to answer the question from Angela's iPhone? Also, your key takeaways.
All right, I'll begin by answering the question. I'll go ahead and explain. I'll use an example of a small restaurant, because you don't want to invest heavily into this. Like Tim said, it might not be needed by everyone, but if a business really does need to venture into this and they don't want to invest heavily into the tech infrastructure, there are softwares that are readily available. All you need is someone that can work their way through the softwares. For example, Unity, Unreal Engine, and Vuforia. Plus, there are lessons that you can find on YouTube, because you don't want to spend heavily. You don't want to, let's say, go to an official school. There is YouTube that you can use. So it's not as hard to know what exactly you want. Use the softwares that are already there, and be careful. I wouldn't want someone to push their boundaries, but yeah, invest in what's already there. The free sites, the free softwares.
Just don't reinvent the wheel. Use what's already available. Stay within your means. Angela, I hope you've been answered. Pascal Olara, in your experience, what's the most important storytelling element that AR can bring to a marketing campaign that other formats can't? Betty, do you want to come in as someone else volunteers to answer that question?
I'm optimistic about AR, especially for marketing. Ugandans have an appetite for experiences. If you look at our weekends filled with events, filled with this and that, I think marketers have a huge opportunity if they have the budget, especially with events, with tourism, of course, also real estate, by tourism and events. For me, the top two sectors I'm excited about where AR can push storytelling and content marketing, especially with young people going to the concerts, even the booths. A lot of companies invest a lot of money in trade expos. People go on stalls, having nothing to do, but you can just use the QR codes to promote your products.
For me, in simple terms, to answer Pascal's question, I think what AR is offering is an immersive experience, an emotional connection, an interactive experience. It can be a powerhouse, but this is predominantly digital for digital natives for the physical world. So if brands prioritize user experience and storytelling, they can easily adapt to AR as opposed to what other technologies can't do. As we close, a huge thank you to our speakers, Admire, Chris, Daniel, Betty. Thank you so much, the participants in the chat, for all of you who have asked questions. Until next time, keep innovating and tell your stories boldly. Have a fantastic evening.